You can become a tailor in a month's time. Yes, you heard me right. You can become a tailor in a month's time if you put your mind to it, and I'm more than glad to see you through that journey. Hi family, my name is Vivian Opunde. I'm a beautician and a fashion designer, and this is Sewing 101 with Vivian. If you're joining in for the first time, thanks for stopping by. You're welcome. And if you're a returning viewer or subscriber, thanks so much and you're welcome as well. So today we'll be learning how to cut. First of all, take skirt measurement, draft, cut and sew. This is actually the second video for this course. If you've not seen our first video, you would need to see that video. Without further ado, let's get to why we are here. In taking the skirt measurement, you also consider the vertical and the horizontal measurement. For skirt, the start point is where the person wants their skirt to start. So you ensure to find out that point by asking them, or if you're making it for yourself, you take it from where you like your skirt to start. So for her, we're using this point here. And let's assume it's going to be a knee length skirt, so the skirt length will be stopping here, which is 23. So as the tape is placed downward, you also take the hip point, which is the fullest part of the hip. This is around the hip, this is around the hip, but the fullest part is here. Fullest part is here, which is 9. This is 9 here. And you remember your measurement is starting from the tip of your tape. So we've gotten the vertical measurement. For skirt, you just need the waist point, the hip point, and the length of the skirt. That's the full length. And also the knee point. So in this case, the knee point is where the skirt is stopping. So you go over to the horizontal measurement, starting with the waist measurement. The waist measurement here is 25. You can see our tip of tape is resting on 25. See? 25. Come down to the hip. Also, you consider the fullest part of the hip. And here, this is 35. If we don't want it too tight, it will be 35. If we want it tight, it should be 34 and half. So it also depends on how loose or tight you want your skirt. So 34 and half. This is the point, and you're good. So this is the skirt measurement we're using. Hip point 6, knee point, which is also the skirt length in this case, is 15, the waist circumference 20, hip circumference 25. This is going to be a miniature skirt, something just small for illustration purpose. If you want to make yours, you ensure to use your actual measurements. So first off, in making a skirt, you fold your pattern or fabric into 2. This is the first thing you do, and then you measure the width, how wide your pattern paper would be, or how wide your fabric would be. So in this case, what will inform the decision or the size of this pattern paper unfold is the hip, which is the biggest part of the body. So in this case, the hip is 25, so you divide by 4. First, this is divided by 2 now. Then I'll pick that point now and divide again. Now I've divided into 4. So the width of this pattern paper should be at least 6.5. 6.2 rather. Come close. 6.2. This is 6.2. Remember, you always start from the tip of your tape to where this folded mark is, which is 6.2. So this is the width of my skirt. So it's too wide. I'll go ahead to reduce it a little so that I will not be wasting my paper. Haven't gotten the width of what I want, I'll go ahead to take the full length of this skirt. The full length is 15. This is the start of the tape and this is the end of my skirt. But then I'll add extra 1 inch allowance for hemming. Hemming is the finishing of a dress or a skirt by which you fold to make the ends neat. So I'm giving 1 inch for my hemming allowance. So I'll go ahead to mark here, which is my waist point. The hip point is 6, which is here, and the full length and knee point is 15 in this case. So you can call this WP, which is the waist point, or WL, which is the waistline. If you're going across like this, it becomes a line. If you're here, which is the hip point or the hip line. This point is the hip point, but when you mark a line going across, it becomes a hip line. This is my knee point, but then if I mark the line going across, it becomes my knee line. So on the waist point or waistline is where you take the waist measurement, and in this case our waist measurement is 20. That is the waist circumference. Remember, you divide by 4. Every round measurement, every vertical measurement you take, you divide by 4, except the shoulder. As we proceed, you will get to know why you don't divide your shoulder into 4. So the waist now is 20. So when I divide 20 by 2, you can decide to use your calculator. If I divide it by 2 is 10, by 4 I have 5. So you come on here and mark your 5. This is how wide the waist of this skirt will be. You go over to the hip, which is the hip circumference is 25. This is it. Fold your tape this way. See, you hold it down so that when you open it, you see the mark. Then you bring your tape over again, place it like this, hold this part firm, then you set the mark again. So this has become my what? Hip measurement. And now the knee measurement. If you're making a pencil skirt, you minus at least 1 inch from the hip measurement. So you don't have to measure the circumference around the knee. What you do is you take at least 1 inch from the hip, 1 inch away from the hip. So if this is 6.2, as you see here, that means the circumference around my knee point or the length of my skirt now will be this minus 1. So if I should connect these 2 points here, it is straight. But when I minus 1 inch at least, it will now give me a fitted skirt towards the knee area. So it's up to you to decide if you want to do the 6.2, then later minus the 1 inch, or you minus it already and mark it that way. So having gotten all of these points, you will go ahead and connect the points. I'll be using my tape just in case you do not have a ruler. So you place your tape this way, you place your tape like this, and then you connect the points. You connect the points like this. You bring your tape here. Now is the hip to the knee. You connect your skirt like this. Remember, this is a hemline. You can go ahead and fold it. You fold it like this. You fold it like this, and then you mark this way. So for people with full hip, small waist, this is how the shape of their skirt would look like typically. So I'll proceed to cut this now. Okay, sorry, you don't cut. Be careful so you don't make mistakes. Since I'll be sewing on this paper, I need to add extra allowance. But if I wanted, I'll just cut exactly. So when I'm transferring this to my fabric, I'll now add the allowance. But since I'll be sewing this paper, I need to add allowance. Because it's paper, I'll be adding half an inch. Remember, I told you from here to here is half an inch, from here to here is half. So half plus half making 1 inch. So I'll be marking from here to here now as my allowance. So this long line here, the longer line next to the longest line. So this is half an inch, half an inch, half an inch. So this is called the sewing allowance or the seam allowance. This is what allows you to sew. It means with this I'll be able to sew my skirt and it will not affect the size, the actual size of the skirt. Imagine I did not add this. When I sew now, I will now reduce the width of the skirt, but now I have an allowance, so if I sew on this line, the width of the skirt will be maintained. So we'll go ahead to cut this. Remember, when cutting, you even up the sharp end. You don't leave your curves pointing like this. You curve it out. That's what I try to do with my scissors, so it's not pointing too much. So this is the front of our skirt. You go ahead to cut the back piece. In cutting the back piece, you have to give allowance for zip, except you are sewing an elastic fabric. You will need to add extra allowance for zip. It is called the zipper allowance. Mind you, you don't just fold this, you make sure they're same width. You can see I try to fold exactly the same. So I'm giving extra allowance for my zip. It is also called the zipper allowance. So you go ahead and pin in case you're working with fabric. Pinning is very, very important, even with paper, because it helps you to secure your pieces in place. So you see, this will no longer be shaking. So I'll now add my zipper allowance because I want this to have a zip. So this is now like 1.5 inch zipper allowance. So I'll go ahead and connect this line straight out. I'll come down to my hip point and mark the seam 1.5. I'll connect this line like so. And in case you want your skirt to have more shape at the back, because you can actually go straight and it will be straight at the back, but if you want your skirt to have a little shape at the back, you minus at least ½ inch, or you go in with your desired amount of inches, so that you have your skirt giving you a nice curve at the back. You connect this point like this. So the same point I have here, which is 1 inch, I'll maintain that down here. Connect it like this. So you go ahead and cut. Remember, this is the zipper allowance. Zipper allowance. So you cut it. So the skirt is ready. If you are cutting your skirt, please don't give half an inch allowance. It is too small. Give at least 1 inch allowance if you are cutting for yourself. This is because I'm using paper and it's not, nobody is going to wear it. I just use this half an inch to illustrate for you. It is always better that you have excess fabric than you have less. If you cut it on the size, it's almost impossible to like remedy the situation. So you always cut to have excess rather than have shortage. So you can leave as much as 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inch, as the case may be, except you're managing fabric, then it's understandable. So when I open this up now, I have this as my front piece of the skirt, while these two are the back pieces. This is it. Oh yes. While these are the back pieces. So this is the back piece, this is the front piece. You will want to ask, why is the back piece bigger than the front piece? This is because the back piece will rest like this, and overlap, reason with the zipper allowance. So when by the time we fix our zip like this, yeah, and we sew and fix our zip like so, you will see why this is like this. That is it for today's video. In my next, I'll show you how to put these pieces together and turn them into a skirt, as well as show you how to insert a zipper properly. Do well to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll be one amongst the first people to see the video when it drops. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know your genuine and honest opinion concerning the video. If you have questions that are not even related to this video, do feel free to ask them in the comment section. I'll be there to respond. And don't forget to subscribe, because I want to see you soon. Thanks for watching.